When you've cut yourself, you've never leaked water out of yourself, which is so weird because you're 70% water.
Well, what do you mean? What's blood?
Blood is not from the cell, right? So
Okay.
you'll have blood, which is a liquid state, but it's outside of the cell. We can do huge surgeries with almost no bleeding. And so you're cutting through massive amounts of tissue. Heart surgery is just so dramatic. And there is no leak. There's no water there because it's not a liquid state. It's actually in this fourth phase of water, which looks like a dense jello. And what it is, miraculously, is a crystalline structure of that H2O. And that crystalline structure lines up along the DNA of the strand of the virus or the human DNA that you receive from mom and dad to create an antenna system. And so the vibration of water around the double helix of the completed human DNA creates a vibrational antenna. And now when you hit that with light energy, it vibrates at a very specific frequency. And I believe that what gives you the ability to wake up every day thinking you're Aubrey and not me is not actually a cognitive process. It's actually a vibrational event where you always know. And if somebody came along and said, your name's not actually Aubrey, your parents lied to you, your name's Phil, that's no problem for you because you say, all right, I'm actually Phil, but you haven't lost track of who you are at that biologic level because you're still the same frequency of resonance.
Right.
So it's not, it doesn't dumb down to, well, that's my name. No, there's an awareness of self. There's a coherence of memory of your body that's held at the water structure and its resonance around the DNA strand. Memory's all in the water.
Whoa.
Memory's all in the water. We've never found a database in the brain or peripheral nervous system that allows for long-term memory. There's no structure. We have short-term memory in the hippocampus, which is a tiny little, size of an almond in the side of the brain. That's where we do short-term memory processing into long-term memory, but it disappears into this black box of long-term memory. We don't know where the hell that's happening in the neurology side, but we know through water structure that water carries memory at the molecular level in an exquisite state. The point being, vibration affects structure, and the memory of water is in this interface between the crystalline structure of the gel state of water in our cells and that electrical vibration from sunlight, from food translation into energy, all of these things. We're creating a new potential for human biology to have a genetics that then will wrap the water in a new state where we start to lose the memory of all the trauma, the emotional BS, the denigrating belief systems, and our water itself starts to get stripped of that negative information. And the water structure in the cell of somebody who has freed themselves of fear and guilt, who has cancer, is likely to free themselves of that cancer because they are vibrating at a higher frequency. And so it's very intriguing that by the end of this decade, wouldn't it be interesting if there was at least a large segment of the population that started to be able to hold more light energy in the water structure of the human cell than's ever happened before?
Yeah.
Your water is remembering the original math. And so sound healing works. If you've seen the sound vibration on an effect of a pool of water, and see the different sacred geometry that emerges with different notes.
Or with sand on a plate.
Sand on a plate.
Yeah.
You can see this beautiful sacred geometry, which is reflected in the structures of the universe, the way that supernovas occur in the vacuum space. All of these sacred geometries happen all over the place due to vibrational input into the, in this interface between the physical world and the quantum world. And so
the sound is a vector of remembrance.
Sound is a vector to create the vibrational shape that becomes an antenna. And so that sacred geometry picks up universal information that's beaming down on the planet through gamma ray and all sorts of electromagnetic field radiation from the universe. And I believe this is actually how astrology works, is that the stars and their positions, the planets and theirs, the position of our planet with regard to that massive nuclear event that we call the sun at the moment of our birth is setting our water structure into a very specific vibration. And from that moment forward, we will receive all of the energetic information of the universe to the tune of that sacred geometry.